What I'm really hoping is that that's just a show, and there's actually a shadow government that is stable and that's keeping long-term thoughts.
I hope that's the case. Yeah.
Hey, let's go.
Yeah. I hope that there is an Illuminati thinking long-term.
Brazil and China have stricken a trade deal agreement to ditch the United States dollar.
It's terrifying.
Oh no!
A bunch of other countries.
They just did one with Iran.
Yep.
Yeah.
A bunch of them.
China has overtaken the United States as Brazil's top trading partner back in 2009. And now Brazil and China have reportedly struck a deal.
They're trying to depeg the dollar, bro!
In favor of their own currencies and trade transactions.
And Russia, too.
Yes, sir.
And yeah.
So China and Brazil will carry out trade and financial transactions directly now, exchanging yuan for reais.
Where is it?
R-E-A-I-S?
Reyes? I don't know. Yeah.
Or vice versa, rather than first converting their currencies for the US dollar, which is what they did before. Again, the world's reserve currency, 60% of the world's reserves in currency are US dollars, which means like that is the biggest thing that you trade against, right? That has the most liquidity.
I heard Indonesia, Saudi Arabia.
Really?
Yeah.
Iran?
Yeah, Iran, Iraq. And it's like,
Damn.
I think it's like more than 40% of the world. So it's about to get more than half. It's going to get half and then more than half.
Fuck.
That's bad.
So China is Brazil's largest trading partner, accounting for more than a fifth of all imports, followed by the United States. So even though this was the case, they were still trading with US dollars.
Damn, that's crazy.
China is also Brazil's largest export market, accounting for more than a third of all exports. China overtook the United States as Brazil's top trading partner back in 2009.
China's everyone's trading partner, though, because everything's manufactured in China.
Yeah.
And our poor relationships with China, with like shipping, logistics, manufacturing operations, like that's only gonna fuck us up even way more because they got the power. Even we would rely on them for a bunch of shit, you know?
Hell yeah, dude.
Dang, this is
kind of scary.
The superpower shift happening right before our eyes. And I don't know. I mean, I like America and this is my home.
Sometimes I go, man, Trump was actually pretty cool. He kept everything cool. Everyone respected him. I mean, maybe he had a loud mouth and he said crazy shit. But people are like, oh, don't fuck with that guy.
But it honestly worked in our favor that he was pissing off America more than he was pissing off China.
I thought he pissed off China by doing all those trade deals, like...
Well, they did a deal. Like, it was a deal.
But I thought the deals was to benefit America better.
Well,
yeah, but China signed on their side too. They're like,
oh, okay.
You know,
you see, like, but now we're not talking?
now they're all doing those deals without America there. Like, I think Xi Jinping and Vladimir Putin just signed like 14 fucking documents.
It's like no one's scared of who we got now, so they're all doing deals behind our back. And then also, it also seems like North Korea don't give a fuck about us, whereas before I feel like North Korea was like, oh, I respect America.
And then our response is what? Like, let's build some more like military bases in the Philippines in order to get ready for a threat. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Let's add Turkey. Let's add all these countries to NATO. Turkey just ratified. I can't remember who to NATO, but like they're basically just doubling down on what they're doing.
That's why it made more sense when people were mad at Trump rather than China was mad at America.
Hot take.
But kind of.
China's exports and imports with Russia surged at a double-digit pace back in January, February from a year earlier. Double-digit. That just goes to show the sanctions that have happened against Russia were exploited, right? Like China's like, hey, we can help you out because nobody wants to do commerce with it. We will.
We're being glossed over.
You know what's crazy is some people don't understand geopolitical things so much that they don't see this as a threat at all.
No big picture.
What's the big deal? Why are you so racist?
We put the screws to Russia. 5,500 upvotes on Reddit that there's sanctions against Russia. It's like, yeah, dude, you don't know the ramifications of those things.
It's like, do you not understand? Even if like there's no all-out war, right? Even if we aren't the superpower, say fucking goodbye to your luxuries. And I'm talking about like just normal American life is already living like luxury.
Yeah, for sure.
Like say fucking goodbye.
Like imagine a loaf of bread is $20 now. A bottle of water is like 15 bucks. It's like holy shit.
Yeah, we've gotten fucked recently. Again, we called that during the COVID, all the inflation that was going on. We were calling that back then. We were like, yo, dude, Hoard your dollars because it's about to get real. But then everyone's like clowning us. That's a bunch of conspiracy shit and all this stuff. Yeah, guess what happened, dude? Your dollar got inflated and your purchasing power got fucking wrecked.
Yeah.
Go figure.
And Bitcoin surged because people are losing faith in it. You know
Damn
what I'm
right.
saying? Like, and you're talking about like all these like major central banks in different areas fucking purchasing gold. You know what I mean? Because like there's
Talk about that.
So again, you know, I was watching this video from who was it? From Jasper, Minority Mindset, earlier this morning, talking about like again, there's just article after article. You're just seeing this trend, this flow of different currency, different nations and central banks from those different nations purchasing fuck tons of gold because in this potential new world order that doesn't rely on the U.S. dollar as the reserve currency, they're gonna want a currency that is actually backed by gold. So that's why banks are starting to purchase golds in masses. Again, it's not guaranteed. Nothing's like formally and officially signed that this is guaranteed going to be a new world currency, but with the distrust in the dollar and thinking about moving and migrating to some sort of other currency,
CBDC.
yeah, there's still gonna be some concept of like what is that thing backed by? Because just as Jasper was saying, right now the U.S. dollar since like the 70s hasn't been backed by gold, so it's been backed by trust.
Belief.
It's been backed by the promise that the U.S. economy is always going to be at the top. The U.S. military is always going to be at the top. Capitalism through the U.S. standing power is always going to be at the top. But the second we lose that concept of a promise to the rest of the global economy,
Like say right now.
like right now, it's like who are they? Why would they trust the dollar? It's going to almost like a bank run. You know what I mean? It's going to inflate our entire economic currency, and then it's going to put trust in something else. Everybody's going to need to fortify their trust in something else, and the only thing they can do is something like gold, something that has an actual standard of currency that makes sense. You know, so people can put trust behind it because you can't trust the U.S. dollar anymore, and that's fucking
Or
really
digital
scary
gold.
for us.
Let's go.
Or digital gold.
Digital
Yeah.
GPAX-G.
What's digital gold?
Well, Bitcoin. GPAX-G is like crypto that, you know, basically similar to Tether. You know, Tether.
Yeah.
USDT. They're basically GPAX-G is basically saying, hey, for every $1 dollar of GPAX-G we generate, we have a backing in gold, like percentage wise.
Can that ever get depegged? Like,
Dude, we just don't know, right? Like Tether.
yeah.
So Tether's like their founders are a company called Bitfinex, and they're like a group that basically says for every $1 of Tether we generate, we are backing it in a vault in Peru. They've never been successfully audited. They hire a bunch of friendly auditors. We don't know anything about it. And again, I don't know that they definitely don't have it. I just don't know. So it's impossible to speculate. But is that trust? Is that trust like what we have in the US dollar? Is there gold in Fort Knox? We don't fucking know.
China's biggest Achilles heel is apparently it's China because they're so massive. They spend a lot more time and energy keeping their own like states and stuff in check with basically like corruption is pretty rampant, and on top of that, because it's a part of their political culture, and on top of that, like infighting. So because of that and how many what do you call it, like of their top leaders, they have somewhat of a brain drain where they want to go to Western countries, right? Or they'll invest some type of safeguard there, and then they will send their kids, and then they retire there because they don't want to be in China. So if that continues, then that they could implode on themselves. But we don't know yet. This Chinese billionaire came out and he was just like saying like he got a political asylum or whatever. He was whistleblowing and he was just saying like America doesn't even know what they're dealing with because China has the ability to plan 100 years in advance. It's one political party, it's one group, it's one crony. They don't have political opponents versus in the US, there's all these small camps fighting for power.
And Xi Jinping just won a third election, which is like literally the first time in however long generations that the same thing like America, they used to be like, oh, a president can only like have 2 terms. Yeah. And they just nixed that whole thing to basically in unanimous decision vote this guy back into a 3rd term, basically eradicating that law saying that he could basically run China and the CCP for the rest of his life. Yeah. Yeah. So they've gone kind of back.
It's one group, one CEO.
Yeah.
And if you don't have to keep campaigning, like think of all the plans he could make. Especially in a
stop to campaign, yeah.
Yeah. And in their economy, it's government owned. A lot of the businesses, they have a stake in it, And if they wanted to, they'll just take it.
Yeah.
So like every company that does extremely well, what ends up happening is they get a stake in it, or they take it over completely. Or if they rescue, like remember that big real estate company that got shut down because they over leveraged? The one during the pandemic.
Of course, yeah.
In China. We thought that it was
Evergreen.
Evergreen.
Evergreen. Apparently that's like a thing out there where like they let companies over leverage, get big, get crazy, right? And then they just wait for them to fail, and then the government comes in and goes, "Oh, you need a bailout? Well, it's our company now."
Everybody thought we were about to get wrecked by that, by the way. Everyone thought it was over because of that. We actually spiked hard after.
Yeah, and then the real estate went crazy.
Yep.
But I just think they have advantages that we don't. So like in the US, because sometimes our democracy works against us, right? Like in a way where if we're competing with a group that doesn't have to.
So no term limits, huh, Joe? Lifetime appointments?
If you're comparing countries to countries.
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
The big picture is these guys don't have to.
How do you compete?
So that's the scary part.
Yeah.
We have to vote, we have to campaign, we don't have a dictator.
But shouldn't it be tilted towards what the public wants? Not that that ever happens, in my opinion, but shouldn't it be at least intent based?
I mean, yeah, we're supposed to. But with all this infighting and people just spending time like campaigning, are they thinking about the big picture? I don't know.
I think they are, because they just elected like a 95-year-old guy by a lot of votes.
What I'm really hoping is that that's just a show, and there's actually a shadow government that is stable and that's keeping long-term thoughts.
I hope that's the case. Yeah.
Hey, let's go.
Yeah.
But I hope that there is an Illuminati thinking long-term.
Yeah.
There's gotta be. You know why? Because the concept of even a CBDC, like the central bank digital currency, this new concept of a digital currency that is run by one central organization that is not even tied specifically to a singular nation,
is no different than the dollar. Let's fucking go. Who issues the dollar, Anthony Lee?
the Illuminati.
It's close. Federal Reserve.
The Illuminati.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's the same shit. Oh, is the Federal Reserve our government? No. They're an independent body. The president appoints their leader, sure, but we have no control over them other than, we appoint that guy. It's kind of creepy.
It's kind of fucked up.
I don't even know what the Federal Reserve is, dude. I just hear it.
Hey, Bart, you want to audit them? You can't. People have been trying to do it for 25
It's a private bank.
You can't do it. It's the Iron Bank.
Which is why the idea of even like bailing out banks or like, you know, like Silicon Valley, like all those things tanking, like, and then that being almost like this, again, conspiracy theorist mind, like leading towards like, it makes a lot of sense for a central bank digital currency to be the thing that like runs everything versus like these like individually trusted like things, you know what I mean? It all is kind of leading towards this. Of course, we should trust in the central figure that has all of the control and stuff. You know, we should submit our control. We should submit our trust towards this central currency in order to make sure things work out.
Anywhere else, we send troops. We will literally take over your reserves ourselves to make sure you're playing ball with us. Federal Reserve's based in the United States. We don't send troops. We don't control them. It's fascinating.
Fascinating, good word. That's optimistic,
right?
This bummed me out.
Brought to you by Raytheon.